Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Mini Meatloaf Ghosts. That's right, who you gonna call? Ghost Meatloaf. Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you how to take your favorite meatloaf recipe and turn it into these absolutely adorable, yet still incredibly terrifying edible apparitions. And not only are these easy and fun to make, they are also a delicious crowd pleaser that will have your family cheering for more. Sorry, I mean booing for more. And all we're going to need to get started with is one batch of whatever your favorite meatloaf mix is. And if you don't have one, you could just use this extremely quick, easy cheater version I'm about to show you now, which includes 1 pound of lean ground beef, some salt of course, as well as some freshly ground black pepper. And do not forget a few shakes of cayenne, otherwise I will haunt your dreams. I also like to toss in a little bit of minced green onion. And then I tossed in a little chopped parsley because I had it in the fridge, but you don't really need that. But what you do need is some breadcrumbs, as well as 1 beaten egg, and then last but not least, a splash of Wash Your Sister sauce. And that's it. We'll go ahead and take a fork and give this a mix, so as not to overwork the meat with our hot, sweaty hands, which as you may know could result in a tough meatloaf. And by the way, it's probably worth mentioning that you don't have to use meatloaf for this. Okay, your favorite meatball recipe would also work, or you could if you want just simply season some ground beef. Okay, if you're making these for kids, they probably won't care too much. Unless they're those children of the corn. Okay, they're kind of particular. But anyway, we'll go ahead and mix it up with a fork until it's just combined. At which point we'll stop, wrap this up, and refrigerate it for at least an hour before we work with it. Okay, you could use this right away if you had to, but if you let it sit in the fridge for like an hour, it's going to be easier to work with and probably taste better. So that's what I did, and then an hour later I pulled it out. And then what we'll do is take 1/8 of this mixture and roll it into a nice smooth ball. Which of course is a lot easier if we dip our fingers in some water. Since as everybody knows, damp hands make smooth ghosts. And then what we'll do once we have a ball formed is we'll attempt to mold this into some kind of pear shape, ideally mimicking the physique of your average ghost, which shouldn't be too hard. But as I was doing this, I couldn't help but think this would be a lot easier to do on a pottery wheel, especially if you had a couple extra hands helping you, with maybe some Righteous Brothers playing in the background. But anyway, like I said, we'll go ahead and form that into a pear shape, at which point we'll place that down on a lined sheet pan. And as we say in the business, the first one is always the worst one. And that was certainly the case here, and each one I did after that got a little bit better. But having said that, don't obsess on getting these perfect, since they are going to get covered with a slice of cheese. Sorry, I mean sheet of cheese. And that's it. Once we have those shaped, with ideally the heads centered over the bodies, they are ready to transfer into the center of a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes or so, or until cooked through, which I say is about 150 internal temp. And then what we'll do as soon as those come out is place 1 slice of provolone cheese, or the white cheese of your choice, directly over the top, centering it as best we can. And what's going to happen is that residual heat from the meat is going to start to melt that cheese, and it's going to start to droop down, which is exactly what we want to happen. But since these are so hot, and these are somewhat pointy shaped, it's probably going to start melting through the top like you see it doing here, which is why after that first slice is applied, I'm going to take another quarter slice, which I just punched out with a round cutter, but you could just tear it or cut it into quarters, and we'll place that on top as well, so we have a little more sheet for the head. And that's it. As soon as these have been flying nullified, we will pop those back in our still hot oven for about 30 seconds, or until that cheese just starts to melt. At which point we'll pull them out, and we will finish up with a little bit of phantom fashion fine-tuning. And for that, we will take some of that cheese that's melting down around the bottoms, and we'll go ahead and wrap that and or drape it over the top. Okay, the more irregular, the better. And just like when we shape the bodies, don't worry about trying to get these perfect. Since as these sit, that cheese is going to continue to melt, and you're going to lose most of the detail, but that's okay. Because as you'll see, once these sit for a minute or two, the appearance is going to become very ghost-like. And not just with the shape, but also the color. Okay, most Halloween-themed ghost-shaped foods are too white, but here our sheets are way more realistically dingy. I mean, you think ghosts have access to washing machines? Well, they don't. So after a few centuries, their sheets get pretty nasty. But anyway, once we're happy with how that part looks, we will take the tip of a knife and form the eyes and the mouth. Whoops, I just hit the tripod. Or at least I hope that was me. And I think the secret to a truly terrifying ghost face is to make the mouth more vertically shaped than horizontal. Okay, I want my ghost to look more like it's screaming and not like it's smirking. But anyway, do it any way you want, since when it comes to the facial expression, You are, after all, the Patrick Swayze of how crazy. But personally, I don't want a pleasant smile and prefer something much closer to a tortured scream. Oh, and do not try to form a nose. All right, everybody knows your nose falls off when you decompose. Oh, you didn't know? Well, now you have that to look forward to. And that's it. Once we're done forming those facial features, we can finish up by going around maybe tucking in the sheet a little bit. At which point these are ready to serve with whatever sauce we're going to pair them with, which in my case is going to be a pool of blood. Oh yeah, I got a couple really nice pints from a free-range grass-fed drifter. Although not really so much grass-fed as grass-sedated. But anyway, if you can't find blood to serve these on, you can substitute with a mixture of ketchup, barbecue sauce, and hot sauce, which is also very nice. And that's it, my mini meatloaf ghosts were ready to enjoy. And yes, I know that is a very haunting image. But who cares how cool these look? Or how ghoul these look? If they don't also taste good. Which these did. Okay, not surprisingly, a hunk of meatloaf covered in melted provolone cheese is very tasty. And for your adult guests, what makes these truly terrifying is the added horror they're going to feel as they realize their meatloaf dinner is getting cold while you carve the face. Now that is scary, so don't take too long. And if you're like me, the best part of meatloaf is when it gets cold and you make sandwiches out of it. So yes, with the leftovers, we did enjoy a little ghost on toast, which was Michelle's idea. But anyway, I went ahead and plated one up so I could take some pictures. And then I sliced off the head so I could take another bite. But also so I could end the video with a visual of a bloody neck stump. And when it comes to food, if there's something more Halloweenish than a ghost meatloaf's bloody neck stump, I don't know what it is. Which is why I really do hope you give these a try soon. So please follow the links below for the ingredient amounts, a printable written recipe, and much more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.